How does this Votann player smash everyone in the game and make his Votann have like a 90% win rate? It's absolutely absurd, especially when you look at how Votann is doing in the meta. So I figured today we're going to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive on how Tim Schneider, who is the best Votann player in the world, is crushing everyone. He's making some of the best players in the world look like they don't even know how to play Warhammer, and he's doing it with Votann, which many people largely consider to be one of the weaker factions in the game. So this is a beautiful example when I was watching this match, and this is on the Breaking Heads YouTube channel. So shout out to them for posting up their stuff. I like it. So Tim is a great player, and he is going to put on a masterclass of how to guarantee that you win the game no matter what your dice look like. So I've talked about this several times, and we're going to kind of watch this together, and I'm going to kind of, and it's all in German, so I'm just basically going to tell you what's happening. Not that I speak German, but I do speak Warhammer. So I'm just going to go and press play, and I'll start talking to you a little bit about what we're looking at. So I've got it sped up a little. So as you can see, Tim has the Jaegers, and I know it's a little blurry, sorry about that. Tim has these Jaegers that are deployed up in the center line, and we're trying to figure out right now who's going to go first. So they're about to do the roll-off to determine who goes first. And I think he's still deploying a little bit. So this is the Warhorde player, and the Warhorde player is running 3 tank buses, all with shock attack guns. He's running some flash kits. He's running 2 to 3 units of breakaboys. He's got Zodgrod with all the Gretchen, whereas Tim Schneider's list is going to be, I think I've got to pull it up here. It's going to be Brokir Iron Master with the Appraising Glare, Ironheart Champion, 2 10-man units of Hearthcan Warriors, 2 10-mans of Berserks, 1 10-man of Jaegers, 2 6-mans of Hearthcan Pioneers, 2 Hecaton Landforges, and 3 Sagittars. And since I've got it pulled up, I'll give you the full list for the work player as well. So he's going to be running 3 units of Big Mechs with Shock Attack Gun. He's going to be running, sorry, let me just finish this. He's got 1 Boss Nikrot, 2 War Bosses, Zodgrod Port Snaga, 3 trucks, a Battle Wagon, 2 units of Breakaboys, 1 unit of Flash Kits, 2 units of Gretchen, 1 small, 1 big with Zodgrod, 2 units of Storm Boys, and then 3 tank buses. Remember, each one of those tank buses is going to have a big mech with Shock Attack Gun. So what we're looking at, and I just paused it, what we're looking at is the deployment. And if you look at the deployment, the Jaegers are in the center. So they're saying, all right, the Orc player cannot push up turn 1. You're just not going to be able to push up. He doesn't care if he pushes Zodgrod up turn 1, because the only way you're ever going to push Zodgrod up if you turn 1 if you go first is if you're declaring a Wa. And if the Orc player declares a Wa turn 1, Tim's going to automatically win the game. So he knows that he's not going to declare a Wa turn 1. So he is willing to allow the Zodgrods to do their scout move forward if they want. Now, he's got the Hearthcan Jaegers deployed across the 2 objectives, the one in the center and the one at the top of your screen. And basically what he's going to do, if he goes second, whenever the Orc player moves out, he'll just do a reactive move to move them backwards. If he goes first, he's going to advance those guys forward and lock the Orc player, who, by the way, I'm saying the Orc player because it's a Polish guy, and I am going to butcher his name, so I'm not even going to try. And so he's going to advance these Jaegers forward to move block the crap out of them. Then I'll just go and press play because Tim does win the roll-off to go first. And what you're seeing him do now is you're going to see him start pushing all of his units forward with his scout moves. So now all of the Hearthcan Pioneers, there you go. That's like their 9-inch scout move. They're just going straight forward. He's going to push forward with all of his Sagittars as well. Maybe we get a little bit of a different angle here, because what he's going to do is he's going to set himself up in a position where he gets to effectively shoot most of his army turn 1. Pop transports, probably killed nothing really meaningful, but just pop transports and stuff. And then the Orc player is going to be forced to do a turn 1 Wa to like just try to kill as much as he possibly can, which means that he's no longer going to have that Wa in the back pocket, which means that Tim at that point was just going to be able to slowly pick him to pieces. And you see him here, he's advancing forward those Jaegers. He's just going to stand exactly in front of the Orc player, because when these transports are popped, the Orc player is going to be forced to just go forward into a wall of Jaegers, and as you'll see in a moment, he's going to be forced to go into a wall of Warriors over here as well. So now you see Tim moving up these Pioneers, and he just said, oh look, I get to draw a line onto that truck from my Pioneer. And he does, because the way it is, it's the way the game works. So I'm going to fast forward just a little bit as he finishes moving these Pioneers, and there they go. And what you're also going to see him do is he's going to start moving these Sagittars. So what he's not doing is something I see a lot of people do. They'll send 1 or 2 units forward to Alpha Strike with. But that's almost always a mistake because it just means that your opponent, the orc player in this situation, would get to kill those units on the swing back. What Tim is doing, which is what's so super brilliant and what I recommend you guys take away for your games, and not just with Votann, but with everything, is he's sending everything right now. He is sending it all. And when he sends everything like this, he is screwing the orc player, because even if the orc player could on the clapback kill all those bikes and kill the Jaegers and say kill one squad of warriors, he can't kill all of those Sagittars. He won't be able to kill the land fortresses. He won't be able to kill the second squad or the berserks who are inside the fortresses. He won't be able to kill everything all at once, even if he does WA, because he can only charge so many things. So it's going to cause real problems for him. And this is really just putting the orc player into a no-win scenario. Now, even if Tim completely whiffs here, and he basically does whiff, for example, he is not going to end up destroying the battle wagon after he does all of the dice rolls. You can see the screen that he's got here with the Hearthgun Warriors. So he's forcing the Polish player to charge into the Warriors, not necessarily into the Sagittar. But from right now, what Tim is doing is he's going to shoot all three of these Sagittars into that battle wagon, and he's going to have 2 Oath tokens, right? So he's going to be, hitting on 2s, wounding on, it's either 3 or 2s, I forgot. I mean, he's going to be wounding on 2s with those sustained hits D3 last cannons. He's going to bring up both of the land fortresses, shoot with them as well. Then he's going to have all of the bikes prepared to shoot whatever comes out. So Tim is going to start the game with the bonus CP from Votann, for example, that Votann get when they kill their marked units, because he's playing the index detachment, of course. And he's going to be in such a beautifully staged position that no matter what, he's going to store tons of primary in turn 2, and he's going to be ready to just charge out and obliterate with all of those berserks. And this is basically just going to be a no-win situation. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit more as he's just kind of, so see what he did there. He put both of his land fortresses. One land fortress won't even really be able to shoot this turn, and it doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. And what he's doing after he moves his vehicles that I want to point out is he's got the infantry that's getting out in front of them to stop the Polish player from being able to have a highly successful wall where he can then pile into all the vehicles. So he's putting a stop to that nonsense right now, and it's just very, very impressive. And it would be my worst fear as an orc player. So this is an example of a match where the orc player has lost the game in the list building step. This is why I personally say that if you have the capacity to bring infiltrators and you're not bringing infiltrators, you are a psychopath, because this guy was able to put those Jaegers right up the front, and then he was able to fully scout everything else forward. Even if he got to drop first and deny your commandos in a line in front of your army, you could still then put your commandos in the backfield to put a stop to all of Tim's scout moves, which means you only have to deal with the Jaegers turn 1, which means he's not going to be able to do this forward pressure like Tim really wants to do. So just having one big unit of infiltrators here could put a stop to almost all of this. Now, Snickrot isn't quite enough because he's only one model, but if the orc player wanted any prayer of making it through this match, he should have, I don't know if I'm allowed to use the word, self-deleted Snickrot, because he should have put Snickrot just really forward into Tim's zone for Tim to easily kill turn 1, but he would have at least been able to put a stop to all the scout moves from the bikes and from the Sagittars, which would have seriously slowed Tim down. So it would have worked a lot better had he had commandos. So if this was a different game with a different army list where you included those commandos here, Tim could not pull this maneuver off, which means there's going to be no auto lose turn 1. Which is just very, very critical, which is why I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to bring infiltrators, you need a squad of infiltrators. Even if all the infiltrators are there for is to stop this from happening to you. Now, some people argue with me on this, and that's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to have opinions that don't match mine. I completely recognize that. There's several people who I have a lot of respect who disagree with me, but this is why I think you have to have infiltrators, because it would put a stop to all this nonsense. And what we're going to see here is that Tim actually is going to whiff. He's not going to kill this battle wagon, even though he's got a land fortress. He's got 6 bikes, and he's going to have 3 Sagittars that get to shoot into it, and it's definitely double oath token, right? And somehow the battle wagon is going to magically survive, and it's not going to matter at all. It's going to make 0 difference to the game that Tim had a horrible rolling turn. So we're not going to watch the entire video. I just thought that this clip right here would be a really good way for me to elucidate the point that if you set yourself up beautifully, like Tim has done, to not really care about what the dice are. By the way, if Tim had gone second here, he'd have been totally fine because he would have had the Hearthkin Jaegers that were in position to stop that orc moving up certain movement lanes. He would have scouted, he just wouldn't have scouted nearly as far forward, and he would have just done this in turn 2 instead of in turn 1. So Tim was prepared to go first, he was prepared to go second, but he knew that if he went first, he just automatically wins. If he went second, there's a game there. So the orc player got 20 0'd here. If you guys aren't familiar with WTC scoring, that just means he got the break speed off them. It was going to be more than a 50-point differential in the amount of points that were scored. And this is just a master class in how to position yourself. So shout out to Breaking Heads for putting this up for us to enjoy so that I can kind of review it and show you guys. I didn't have any contact with them. I just thought this would be very valuable for you guys to see what I'm talking about when I want to say position yourselves so that you can win no matter what the dice say. Tim rolled terribly in this turn, and it didn't matter at all. So I'm going to finish with that. I just thought this was a very, very valuable lesson for you guys to see. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like these little reviews where I can kind of go through some of the top level players to show you what they're doing on the tabletops, and Tim is a top level player, let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I can look for a few more of these to share with you. So with that, I'm going to take off. Hope you all have an amazing freaking rest of your day. Crump on. Bye-bye.